The small, sleepy town of Ashwood had its share of legends and ghost stories, but none were as famous as the tale of the ghostly bride. For generations, the townspeople spoke in hushed tones about a spectral woman in a tattered wedding dress who roamed the old Thornhill mansion on the edge of town. Some said she was searching for her lost love, others claimed she sought revenge. Most dismissed the tale as mere superstition, a story to scare children and entertain tourists. But that changed when Ellie found the invitation. Ellie Warren was a journalist with a nose for a good story. She had come to Ashwood to cover a series of unexplained events that had been occurring in the town: strange lights in the woods, whispers in the night, and inexplicable cold spots even in the height of summer. It was while exploring the local library's archives that she stumbled upon the invitation, a yellowed piece of parchment tucked inside an old book. "You're invited to witness the eternal wedding of Evelyn Thornhill," it read in elegant, flowing script. "Midnight at Thornhill Mansion. RSVP not required." Curiosity piqued, Ellie couldn't resist the lure of a potential scoop. She decided to visit the mansion that very night, armed with her camera, a flashlight, and a digital recorder. The Thornhill mansion stood like a sentinel against the darkening sky, its once grand facade now a decaying relic of the past. Vines crawled up the stone walls, and shattered windows gaped like empty eye sockets. As Ellie approached, she felt a shiver run down her spine. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, the kind that precedes a storm. Ellie pushed open the creaking iron gate and made her way up the overgrown path to the front door. It opened with a reluctant groan, revealing a grand but dusty foyer. Moonlight streamed through the broken windows, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The faint scent of roses lingered in the air, a stark contrast to the musty smell of decay. Ellie moved cautiously, her footsteps echoing in the silent house. She clicked on her flashlight and began to explore, taking pictures and making notes. The mansion was a treasure trove of forgotten memories, faded portraits of stern-looking ancestors, dusty furniture covered in white sheets, and a grand staircase that seemed to spiral into darkness. As midnight approached, Ellie felt a growing sense of unease. She made her way to the grand ballroom, the location specified on the invitation. The room was vast, with a high ceiling and tall windows that overlooked the moonlit gardens. A massive crystal chandelier hung overhead, its once dazzling lights now cold and dead. Ellie set up her equipment, glancing at her watch. It was almost midnight. She felt a chill in the air, and the faint scent of roses grew stronger. Her heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. Then, the clock struck 12. A soft, mournful melody filled the air, seemingly coming from nowhere. Ellie's breath caught in her throat as she saw a figure slowly materializing in the center of the room. The ghostly bride was here. Evelyn Thornhill was as beautiful as she was tragic. Her translucent form shimmered in the moonlight, and her wedding dress, though tattered and stained, still held a hint of its former splendor. Her eyes, dark and sorrowful, seemed to pierce Ellie's very soul. "Who are you?" Evelyn's voice was a whisper, carried on the wind. Ellie swallowed hard, trying to steady her voice. "I'm Ellie Warren, a journalist. I found your invitation." Evelyn's eyes widened and a flicker of hope crossed her face. "You can see me. Hear me." Ellie nodded, feeling a pang of sympathy for the spectral bride. "Yes, I can." Evelyn floated closer, her expression desperate. "Please, you must help me. I am trapped in this place, bound by a curse. I was to be married, but on the eve of my wedding, my fiancé disappeared. They say he fled, but I know he would never abandon me. Something terrible happened to him, and I need to know the truth." Ellie felt a surge of determination. She had come here for a story, but now she had a mission. "I'll help you, Evelyn. I'll find out what happened to your fiancé." Evelyn's expression softened. Thank you. His name was Henry Blackwood. He was last seen in the gardens the night before our wedding. With Evelyn's guidance, Ellie began her investigation. She searched the mansion for clues, combing through old letters, diaries, and photographs. She interviewed the few remaining descendants of the Thornhill family and spoke to elderly townspeople who remembered the tragic events. Piece by piece, Ellie uncovered the truth. Henry had been a kind and honorable man, deeply in love with Evelyn. But their love had been envied by Evelyn's cousin, Rupert, who had also harbored feelings for her. On the night before the wedding, Rupert had confronted Henry in the gardens, demanding that he leave Evelyn. When Henry refused, a fight had ensued, and in a fit of rage, Rupert had struck Henry down, leaving him for dead in a hidden part of the garden. Ellie returned to the mansion to confront Evelyn's ghost with the truth. "Evelyn, I found out what happened. Your cousin Rupert was behind Henry's disappearance. He killed him and hid his body in the garden." Evelyn's ghostly form flickered with sorrow and anger. "Rupert? How could he?" "I found his confession in an old letter," Ellie continued. "He regretted his actions but was too afraid to come forward. Henry's body is still there, in the garden." Tears of ectoplasm welled up in Evelyn's eyes. "Thank you, Ellie. Now I can finally rest, knowing the truth." Ellie followed Evelyn to the garden, where they found a hidden grove. Beneath a gnarled old oak tree, Ellie discovered a patch of disturbed earth. With Evelyn's guidance, she dug until she uncovered the skeletal remains of Henry Blackwood. A simple gold ring, still on his finger, confirmed his identity. Evelyn knelt beside Henry's remains, her form shimmering with sorrow and love. "I'm so sorry, my love. I will always love you." As Ellie watched, Evelyn's ghostly form began to fade, her spirit finally finding peace. "Thank you, Ellie. You have freed me." Ellie left Ashwood with more than just a story, she left with a profound sense of accomplishment. She had given closure to a tragic tale and freed a tormented spirit. The story of the ghostly bride would live on, but now it would be one of redemption and peace. Back in the city, Ellie wrote her article, detailing the haunting beauty of the Thornhill mansion, the tragic love story of Evelyn and Henry, and the dark secrets that had kept them apart. The article became a sensation, drawing attention from paranormal enthusiasts and historians alike. Ellie received countless messages from readers, some sharing their own ghost stories, others thanking her for bringing a sense of closure to a legend that had haunted Ashwood for generations. She was invited to speak at conferences and even consulted on a documentary about haunted places. But for Ellie, the greatest reward was knowing that she had made a difference. She had given a voice to the voiceless and had brought light to a place long shrouded in darkness. Years passed, and the story of the ghostly bride became a part of Ashwood's rich tapestry of history and folklore. The Thornhill mansion was restored, becoming a museum dedicated to the town's past. Visitors from all over came to see the place where Ellie Warren had uncovered the truth and freed a tormented spirit. Ellie herself moved on to other stories, other mysteries, but she never forgot Evelyn and Henry. Their love, their tragedy, and their redemption stayed with her, a reminder of the power of truth and the importance of listening to the whispers of the past. And sometimes, on quiet nights, when the wind whispered through the trees and the scent of roses filled the air, Ellie would think of the ghostly bride and smile, knowing that somewhere, in another world, Evelyn and Henry were together at last, dancing beneath the stars in eternal love.